Welcome, Dave King, Chairman, Founder of Triple Crown Sports, College Sports Eval. This is our 8th update video or YouTube conference that we've done. Obviously, all of us are evolving in today's world on communication and how important it is to get some facts and some guidance from different people along the way and what that is. And so I'm going to give you a prescriptive of where we're at today on guidance and an update. Disease update from our standpoint is that we are moving closer to acceptably safe definition in many places. So that's a plus that we see. We're working on a square foot designation for 10 or less people. What I mean by that is that a ball field and the ball field space itself is much larger, and can we get a designation? Is it 120 square feet per person that the health code show? Is it more? Is it less? Because we can do this inside of a complex. Ourselves, we're planning for full re-entry into the marketplace by late June, but we have scenarios in place for various reasons that if that was not to happen. We want to be the leaders in PPE as an industry ourselves and for each of you in utilization of masks. I think we can always take our masks off. We can always quit washing our hands a little bit. We can always get a little tighter. But today, I think our industry needs to err on that side, so we work it every day to ensure our parents, when they come as club sports leaders, are in the same space as us. Public guidance right now, I think this is a summary of what you need to understand, is that most of the decisions to let us play, sit 40% from the governor's office and 60% from either a county health, city or county manager, or parks and rec director. And they're in balance with each other, and I've talked about this several ways, and I'll talk about it more today, that the basic guidelines have been fairly established, and most of America gets it. What's a mask? What's distancing? What's sanitization? Field diagrams of ours have been evolving and following our leads. Our baseball diagram is now done to go with our softball diagram, and I'll kind of present it today. This stance is the big one, that public officials avoid yes. And as I walk you through what I believe your responsibility, I'm going to try to, they want to get to how to say no. And so you need to lead them to a yes answer. Our hired officials, when I say hired, the non-elected officials are avoiding a yes protocol decision when to open, the size, and the PPE. Meaning most of them could write this very simply. They know their sports well. They could follow leads. But they have, in general, the ones I'm working with as an industry, have done very little from their position as Parks and Rec Director to present their sports as independent entities. The elected officials are willing to act, but are missing protocols from their hired experts. So look at that dilemma. You got a hired expert, a Parks and Rec Director, and a governor that's sitting up there, or county health manager, waiting for some protocols, some ideas of how they could operate safely. You need to basically help them. Our United Against COVID documents give you basic PPE. Right now, I would say that's common knowledge. Our field diagrams, probably one of the top Twitter-released campaigns in the history of our building, was the field diagrams. We put them without our name on them, so you could use them, anybody could use them. The attend meetings and write personal letters. And I'll talk a little bit more about that and your role in that. And it needs to happen now. I'm going to give you some examples of steps that I've taken and we are taking. Call the city officials. So I've called a number of city officials. I've written them. I've come back and written my own personal letter to the city official. And I've talked to them again, and they own those ball fields that I need. And so I've approached them from different ways. I've called county health. I've called them again. I've written them again. I've called them again. I've talked. I've asked them to give me definition, which is a quest that you're all going to go through, is to get definition of, okay, what do you want from us to do this? I've climbed the ladder of do it again. I've done 3 layers of this in various key facilities. And the weak link seems to be the health department at the county or the state level, meaning they're writing so many protocols and guidance right now that they need their experts to kind of slide them a napkin version or a written version or a description version and let them save face and let it be theirs. Let them save face and let it be theirs. I've copied and climbed the ladder to the governor. I've called. I've copied again. I've followed all their protocols. I've called. I've copied. I've followed everything. And so to say that I'm not frustrated and that I can feel your frustration at the end of the line, the 2 conference calls we did last week with top club leaders, frustration was there. The other thing I sensed was determination, that the majority of these people, including myself, were determined to work our way through. And I would say to you that if you're feeling this frustration inside of you, it's real. You need to go to that trait that's so desired in your ball players and that you coach to every day, which is determination. Twin them up. Put frustration and determination together, because you are going to feel them together every step of the way. Any BallPark USA, my concept was to reduce it to the ridiculous. And if you look at that concept, here's a baseball field now, and you can see that we've more than doubled the number of fast food restaurants that would fit on one. We squeeze a couple Walmarts in there and still have space on the other diamond. So trying to get them to realize that inside this open air space, and remember, open air space, sits these massive layouts of outdoor utilization of space that we can follow protocols in. And so this Any BallPark USA has probably been our best campaign, and reduce it to the ridiculous has been one of our strengths, that a normal bleachers is the size of a Chick-fil-A. And that the infield can be covered by 5 of your most favorite, most exciting fast food concepts that you've been a part of. And that's the size argument for you. Here's a health department response I want you to see, one I got. David, the best way to begin communication regarding your concerns over the statewide orders would be to complete the information available on their website. Now, this is after 3 correspondence to the governor's office. I can then link here and get to colorado.gov. I can get to the texas.gov. I can get to the California version of this. But then he goes on to remind me, I would reiterate that these are statewide orders and currently specifically prohibit the holding of events with groups of more than 10 people and team sports. So 2 separate statements he makes back. Our current tournament that was scheduled, the NISC Youth Tournament scheduled for May 22 through 25th, would not be permitted under Colorado's current public health orders, as we discussed yesterday. Larimer County is in the process of preparing a variance. So this is the first glimmer of hope I've had in some of the ones I've written. I wanted to show it to you. A variance would then state that they meet this 10, and it is a team sport, and can they have a variance to the statewide orders? And we would appreciate this opportunity to work with Triple Crown to come up with strategies that may allow this type of activity to resume in the near future. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. So you're going to get this variance thing in your face, whether you're wanting to practice, you're wanting to play a friendly game, or you're wanting to jump back out there. And some of you that are up and running, I'm going to talk about that a little bit, of how much you mean to the rest of America and what it's about. This is my letter to the governor, and I want you to understand this is my 4th letter to the governor, which basically, and this is the governor in Colorado, not my letters to the governor of Texas, California, Georgia, other places to allow sports back. But basically, it reiterates over and over till you get to the last paragraph, which says basically next Saturday, we're going to go. And we're going to follow all the protocols and guidance the state's got and some. And we're going to have 10 or less people in a space and some compared to any other open space you have. And it is going to be a small tournament on 3 diamonds. But I do believe I'm going to have to bring the media to watch. And I am prepared to be arrested in order to prove the point that we meet all the protocols. It also says in there we have some sports that aren't ready to go, meaning we're reasonable people. that some of our guidance for indoor basketball right now is not ready to roll. But right now we meet all these guidance in this letter and that we should be allowed to leave. So I'm going to give you some early steps right now that you have to do. No one on this phone call should not be practicing next week in some fashion. It's a baby step, but every one of you need to get up, knock your diapers off, and get responsible to take some baby steps here. And practices is our baby step. It was our first baby step here in Colorado, and it opened it for everybody to do some kind of modified practice in some kind of private space or other definable space. Get approval at some level, somewhere, and get going. And again, that's somewhere. And private, even if it's private, to be seen out there doing it right. Make sure, the corner of a sod farm, private grass or dirt somewhere. Get people used to seeing us do it right. In other words, it doesn't do us a lot of good for a bar scene with nobody with masks. We're not open yet, guys. We're not going to sue the state and get open probably. And we're representing this whole country. And baseball, you're playing on public facilities and school facilities. And softball, you're playing on public, and a few are on private. So get people used to seeing us practice. Use all the protocols strictly. We wear masks from start to finish of practice. Because we need to under this new protocol? No. Because we want to show people that we can play in masks. If it came down to that hair salon moment at first base where we've got 2 seconds, or the home plate tag where we got 2 seconds of a hair salon moment, that we actually have masks on and that no breath would be exchanged through that kind of mechanism, and that we aren't there for 2 hours like a hair salon. We're literally there for 2 seconds. 14, 15 times a game we have these moments. Push the topic everywhere you can, in person, on the phone, and I mean everywhere. And use key parents to get influence. You all have these parents. You know, I call them helicopter, whatever you call them. A lot of times they're dropping off candy and orange slices and love. And sometimes they got machine guns and they're shooting you in the butt. But they can be amassed. And this is the parent that you need to put on this. Someone that's got the type A organizational skills to write a letter, call, write a letter, and just stay on it like they stay on you. And I know I can see you smiling back there behind the screen. You know that parent. You know their name. This is the time you call on them because they're probably asking, what can we do to help? And this is their moment. Look at your roster and pick them. Pick the influencers and equip them with our field diagram, give them our UAC protocols, and our kids need practice for many, many reasons. I mean, you got to run the underlying theme here, which is those kids need to practice. They need to get out. Whatever that mental health reason is, whatever that physical health reason is, they need to get out. Schedule building for your club. So, God, I wished I could just tell you here's the way to do it right now, but it's very, very difficult to print a schedule on May 15th, 2020, have it make any sense anywhere in America. Use your old event dates as cornerstones. So if it was scheduled, leave it on the schedule. And then make sure it's something you can drive to and plan to go with that as plan one. Old event dates. Set up midweeks or private or securable fields with like talent. So the old days of playing a mock league, you don't have to have a league, guys. The baseball people get this better than the softball people. You can have Wednesday nights, you can have Tuesday nights, but you're going to have to get one facility to retreat a little bit, one private facility to retreat a little bit, and whether you're playing Wednesday mornings because the facility's already got somebody else, but find a place. Get used to scheduling 5 to 7 days out. Now, I know, that'll freak you all out, but the reality of it is the guidance is going to change, it's going to flip, and so the world we're in, we got 10 weeks of 7-day out scheduling. 10 weeks of 7-day out scheduling. Drive radius is your new world. You're just like an MLB team. If you can get home at night, you're just like a college team. If you can get it home at every night, that's a win. If there's a few nights stay at a big event and the parents can go with you, you can pull that one off. Anything outside of that is a reach for your whole planning right now. You can put parents with every kid and you can go stay for 3, 4, 5 nights, then that'll work. But stay in a drive radius to where people can go and come home. remember that August is going to be a real choice for every kind of game, tournament, etc., and use it. And let your parents know that in all probability, football players are going to have to make a choice, fall volleyball might have to make some choices to get our competitive seasons finished up in August. And the fall will mean new things. August and the fall will mean new things to everyone. College recruiting is going to be very, very different. This will be different in 2020. There are less dollars for them to come. There's less coaches that can come. The NCAA announced yesterday for your college-eligible teams, not you younger teams sitting here, that no, they can't leave the campus to come see anybody through June 30. I think that's probably the final hurrah, and we can't go see them on their campus. And their budgets are getting hammered right now. Every day, they're getting hammered of new disciplines for them and restrictions that they can do. There'll be little or no campus activity. So if you were scheduled to be on a campus venue, our research shows, and this is 2 rounds in, that the campuses will not, 88% of them will not have an opportunity for you to go see on campus those things that you were used to doing, either a showcase event or a visit. Think local, then regional, not national, who can pay attention to your kids. So if you're trying to help your kids, think about notching down the things that are real. I mean, this is the drive radius world for games. It's probably going to be a drive radius world for your kids. And really focus in that. Video will matter, but don't get fooled by live video. It comes with a lot of the same rules of watchability and recruiting, but it will matter that events that have a video component somewhere can get recorded and seen for showcasing. Individual events like our college sports eval will matter a lot for kids in those key transitions. So that 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old where the clock's ticking and you can feel their pressure, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I mean, I have 30 eligible kids on my baseball side, and I have about 40 eligible kids on my softball side. And their parents, the nervousness, you can feel it. It's palatable nervousness from the parent to the kid to the parent, and then them to me. But individual events will lighten that some, where they can go somewhere. It'll be a lot easier to get an NAI or a JUCO in June to see it, and then the Division IIs will have to come roaring back. Their interpretation in 3 is a little bit grayer in June, but it still has initial wording not to leave campus in most situations. There'll be less scholarships in some cases due to extending players 1 year. A Division III, not so much. Those kids graduated, they moved on. Division II, not so much. But Division I's, high profile, top kids will stay. And that scholarship money's got to go around. Updating our decisions lately, here's that 5 to 7 day window. Gosh, we're updated through May 22nd. And on the 23rd, I intend to make a political statement on distancing ourselves and showing that we can do it with our current local. The goal is to keep hold of the little victories, like in Oklahoma, where we've got a ball field, in Nebraska, where there's a permission to start practice in June, in Houston, where there was an injunction to play and they got it through, in St. Louis, where people got to play and they had a weekend tournament. And so these little victories, we have a Twitter handle right now, Return to Play. And so what I want each of you to do is share those victories. We got permission to practice, we got ball fields for a friendly, we got ball fields for a game, we got ball fields for a tournament, we just did this. Remember that any kind of Twitter you put up there that has a little video has viral potential to help us. And make sure that video's not a bar scene in Wisconsin. Make sure that video has some things in it that say, as a youth sports industry, we'll follow the rules. I mean, I'll put that mask on. I've had it on all day today. I'll put that darn thing on every step of the way, and then when they tell us we can take them off, then let's take them off then. But let's put them on and err on that side right now. Post any victory you got, and especially with the government. If you did something with county health or the state governor, put it up there and share it. We're very optimistic on our side for openings of baseball and softball June 20th and on. But we're only optimistic because we're starting to look like an industry of people fighting. But you have to matter in this process, or it'll be September 1, guys. You have to matter in this process, or we're going to get September 1 approvals across the country. And then we're going to get the great dreaded second wave concept. And we need to get out and show that we're safe when we're out, and that we can go hand in hand with this disease, acceptably safe, and do all the protocols while we get back to playing ball. We're financially challenged every day. Me, are financially challenged in this industry. Your club, your tournament organizers, your governing bodies, this has been really hard. You yourself, I feel your pain every day when I see stuff. As many of you are, and the best decisions, we're trying to make the best decisions we can for all of us right now. You're going to have to be patient with us and each other, with your club, with the schedule, with whatever you thought you put in with your club to do X. You're going to have to exhibit some patience back and forth. Everybody is. It's very, very tough space to be a leader right now. Very tough space. To think that I get excited to do this, I can feel the weight of all of you, and I can feel my weight. TCS Softball, to give you a snapshot, our Colorado 4th of July, which was our largest event, has been split into 4 locations. That's been done, and we've started the transfer process for each region to transfer in their funds. Reduced entry, some credit back, obviously a change of all kinds of lodging and things like that. Our championships have been split into 7 locations. Transfer to any of them, meaning we'll take it in and out. Local events in the next 3 weeks, we're down to a 1-week decision cycle. So be okay. I know you want to know. And I know you need to call me and say, hey, are you going? And call our event director and call. And the answer is in the 7-day cycle, what we know is what we know. Drive radius is everything, so you can back out, change, make an adjustment. All of the big events, including the Zoom, Valley, Extreme, Mountain Magic, have backup dates later in the summer or fall. Meaning we've gone ahead and done that August window to ourselves. And so that has all new issues with it. But the people that really prioritize playing softball are going to be in that space. On our baseball side, pathway for our older players is still on, where we've scheduled, and we have backup dates wherever we're at for our older kids. So we really want to make this happen, and our lead in that division, Gino Grasso, done a bang-up job. Our younger teams under Sean Hardy, super job for 8 and 14s, but they're week-at-a-time decisions. Whether you're playing Colorado, Texas, the East Coast, the Midwest, the Californias, you're just going to have to accept the fact that that's where we're at. Champions are still on as scheduled. Colorado, Utah, and Myrtle, and a lot of spring and early summer events for our younger kids have been pushed to summer, fall, late summer, fall. College Sports Evaluation Decisions, our new company, is a very good choice for recruitable kids in baseball and softball. We got a full calendar of events. We have 10 to 16 college coaches committed at each one. Many places they're JUCO and NAIA. We can run 10 people per diamond and run shifts and meet most every code, as long as we can get a private diamond to play on. We can run 3 groups a day, midweek. We can do lots of things. But if you're a 14 and 18-year-old, get on our website and take a peek at that. What's your responsibility now? So I get up every day, and 2 days are good and 1 day's not so good. But I got to remember what my responsibility is. And I'd say the same thing to you. What is your responsibility? And I would tell you, you need to update. Hide under a rock and wait for the rock to tell you that it can talk is not going to happen. The rock won't talk. And so you need to give parents whatever peace of mind that you can give them. Even if it's repeating mind word for word, doesn't matter. They need some information. Gather information, zoom them in, look them in the eye, and give them this. Make sure you go call influence facility decision makers. And so right now, each of you needs a way to practice. And so if you're practicing on private, push somebody to give you a public. But every little thing that you get a victory to is going to make it that much easier for the rest of us to get back up. Again, all of our victories, we are literally playing as a collective team right now, with one goal, to get back up, return to play, return to play. And every one of you that notches a victory is for every one of us out here. It doesn't matter what governing body, what team, what organization. Now go out there and make a difference, guys. My summary statement to you after go make a difference is be patient with yourselves, be honest and clear with your families, be honest and clear with your own family. The amount of hard information we're going to have to surface through, each of us, that we've done in 3 months and the weeks to come is a lot. And so be honest and clear with everybody around you about what you got, how much team sports mean to you, and what you're trying to do. And yes, answer them with how can I help with something for them to do. Thank you very much, and my goal is to talk to you May 22nd. Thank you.